Hello everybody and welcome to your video notes on Learning Target 1.3 at the MEETS level. The full text is right here, but the long story short, I don't want to read that to you. The long story short is that we're doing English and metric rate conversions. So first thing I want you to write down is this little bit right here. When converting a rate, your work is very similar to a non-rate conversion. You simply need to have the units cross out in the end. Okay, so it's the same as before, but we're just going to have to do a couple more steps than what we're used to. So, example 1. And these examples are going to go in increasing order of difficulty. This first one is going to be fairly straightforward, but the easiest type of conversion that you could get at the MEETS level. Second one's a little bit more complex, and the third one would be an example of the hardest question that I would ask you at the MEETS level. So here we go. Start off with, we have convert 312 centimeters per minute to meters per second. First thing that you should do for these problems is change it from this strange way of writing it to something that makes a little bit more sense. So 312 centimeters per minute, that's the same as saying for every 1 minute. So I've rewritten it there. In the end, I'm going to put this all the way at the end, I want meters per second. So the first thing I need to do, and you could do this in either way. I'm going to first convert my top units, and then I'll convert my bottom units. You could do it in either way. It doesn't matter. But I like to do my top units first. So I want to convert centimeters out. So I need to get rid of centimeters, so I'm going to put that on the bottom. And then I'm trying to get to meters in the end, so meters on the top. I know the ratio between centimeters and meters, so I can do it in one step there. Prefix always gets the 1. Oops. Prefix always gets the 1 here. Fix that. Prefix always gets the 1, and then centi is 10 to the negative 2. Then I'm gonna come back to this whole negative business at the end, but I know that I need to switch that. Then I've got minutes. I don't want minutes in the end, I want seconds in the end. If I want to get rid of minutes, the minutes need to be on the top and the bottom. So I need to get out of minutes, so I'm going to put minutes on the top this time because now I have minutes both on the top and the bottom. In the end, they're going to cross out. I know a relationship between minutes and seconds, so I can put seconds down on the bottom here because I know that ratio is for every 1 minute, we have 60 seconds. All right, so now, like I said, I want to take care of this whole negative business. I'm going to switch the 10 squared to the bottom. This hopefully is nothing new. And I have 10 squared on the bottom. Now I know that I've got centimeters that are going to cross out. My meters are going to stay. My minutes are going to go away. I'm going to be left with seconds. So what I have to do in order to find my answer is multiply everything straight across the top and across the bottom. So I got 312 times 1 times 1. So I got 312, but I don't want a naked number. So the only thing I have left on the top is meters. And then on the bottom, I'm going to have 1 times 10 squared or 100 times 60. So I end up with 60, 100, or 6 with 3 zeros. And then I have seconds on the bottom. Then I can type 312 divided by 6,000 into my calculator. And what I end up with is 0.052 meters over 1 second, or 0.052 meters per second. Both of these answers would be considered correct for this problem. Next one. I need to convert 5.2 miles per hour. So 5.2 miles for every 1 hour. Make sure you get the MI because just M by itself would be meters. 2 kilometers for every 1 week. So in the end, and we're going to take up a little bit more room than we did before, so I'm going to go ahead and erase my answer from the previous problem. just so that way I've got enough room. But I want kilometers per week in the end. So first time we did our top conversion first. This time I want to do the bottom conversion first. So if I want to get rid of hours, they need to be opposite of each other. So I'm going to put hours on the top. And I don't know how many hours there are in a week off the top of my head. So instead what I'm going to do is I know how many hours there are in, say, a day. And then once I know days, if I want to, I'm still not in the correct units on the bottom. I've got days here. I need to get to weeks. So I know I have to get rid of days still. And I have to ask myself, do I know how many days there are in a week? Well, yeah. So I can put weeks on the bottom, and then I would have weeks at the end. And then I can fill this in. There are 24 hours in one day. And in 1 week, there are 7 days. So this is an example. This one's a little bit more complex because we have to take a couple pit stops along the way. Here we have to stop in hours first because I don't know off the top of my head how many hours are in a week. So if you know that, you can certainly do it right away. But I like to do it this way because it makes more sense to me. So we've done the bottom units. Now we need to do the top one. So I've got miles on the top, so I need to put miles on the bottom. Now, here's where it gets interesting. I don't know off the top of my head how many miles there are in a kilometer, but if you look at your handy dandy physics reference sheet, it says that 1 mile equals 1.61 kilometers. So I know that 1 mile equals 1.61 kilometers. If it was, say, going from miles to meters, I would have to take a stop here. Then once I had kilometers, then I would convert to meters. Then I could go there. But I know that this is true based off of my physics reference sheet. And that's it. I'm in kilometers. My answer my units for my answer should be kilometers as well. Let's go in and check to make sure our units work out. Hours go away. Days go away. I'm left with weeks on the bottom. That's good. And then my miles cross out, and I'm left with kilometers. And that's what I want. Then we multiply straight across the top and straight across the bottom. So I end up with 5.2 times 24 times 7 times 1.61. And I get 1,406, so 0, kilometers over 1 times 1 times 1. So that's just 1. Then the units on the bottom that I have are weeks. So in the end, I end up with 1,406 kilometers per week. Now, here's an interesting little bit of information that you don't need to know yet, but I only have 2 significant digits here at the beginning. The 5 and the 2 are significant. My answer has 4. This is not technically correct measurement. We'll talk about correct measurement in class, but the more technically correct answer, in case you're curious, would be 1,400 kilometers per week. Now, either of these would get you full points, but I know your calculator had more than this. So this one is reported properly. This is not something you need to know yet, but it is very useful information that we may talk about at some point, but you certainly will talk about this in chemistry. All right, last one. This is an example of the most complex type of problem that I would ask you for this. It's going to be even longer than example 2. Let's get started. I'm going to start all the way over here. I've got 2.1 inches per second, so 2.1 inches for every 1 second. In the end, I want to be in hectometers for every week. Okay? So, here we go. Switch some colors here. Let's go to Blue. We haven't done blue in a while. All right, so 2.1 inches. I'm going to do my top units first. If I want to get rid of inches, I don't know how to go directly from inches to hectometers. I know that I can go from inches to meters. Or let's see, let's actually look at my reference sheet here. Oh, that's false. I know that I can go from inches to centimeters. I know that for every 1 inch, I've got 2.54 centimeters. I still don't know how to go directly from centi to hecto, so I know that I can go from centimeters to meters. And I know the prefix gets the 1. This is 10 to the negative 2. And then I have to ask myself, can I go from meters to hectometers? I do know that, so I want to get rid of meters. So I'm going to put meters on the bottom. And then finally, I get to hectometers. Prefix gets the 1. Hecto is 10 squared. Okay, so my top is taken care of. I'm in the units I need to be in. And then I have to go from seconds to weeks. So this can get fun. So here, let's switch colors again, just so you know we're working on the bottom now. Let's go back to red. So now we're going to be looking at the bottom here. So I need to get rid of seconds, so that has to go on the top because it's on the bottom back at the beginning. I know how many seconds there are in, let's say, well, in a minute. So in 1 minute, there are 60 seconds. Minutes is still not weeks, so I have to get rid of minutes. And I know there are, let's see, going from minutes to hours. I know that 1 hour is 60 minutes. Hours is still not right. So got to get rid of hours. I know how many hours there are in a day. 1 day is 24 hours. And then days still isn't weeks, so, but I do know that if I get rid of days, that 1 week is 7 days. So that one has 4 steps just to get rid of that bottom unit. So let's go back to the beginning and make sure that everything crosses out. Let's do black. Inches go away, top and bottom. Centimeters go away, top and bottom. Meters go away. I'm left with hectometers, which is good. That's what I want in the end. And then let's see, seconds go away. Minutes go away. Hours go away. Days go away. I'm left with weeks. So then I have to multiply all the things on the top and all the things on the bottom to get my answer. So I end up with the following. So before I get my answer here, there's something interesting here, folks. I've got 10 to the negative 2 on the top and 10 squared on the bottom. Those cross each other out and become 1 because that is not correct. If it was 10 squared on the top and 10 squared on the bottom, that would be true, but this negative sends us to the bottom, so I end up with 10 squared on the bottom and just 1 on the top. So don't listen to me. Okay. If I multiply everything on the top, I end up with 3226003.2 hectometers. And on the bottom, I end up with 10 to the 4th or 10,000 weeks. And I divide those out, I end up with 322.6 hectometers per week, or over 1 week. But notice that we started with 2 significant digits. So this has 4, so I'd have to round this to 320 hectometers per week. And again, it's not important that you know that, just putting that on your radar. Both answers would be correct. The end.